Welcome to The Foundry, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
Welcome back, Passion Investing community. Today, I have a couple of announcements before we get started. I am recording my audiobook. You may notice I've completely rearranged my studio. So some of the things you normally see aren't there, and some things you don't normally see are there. But in addition to recording this great new audiobook and all these totally different things I may show you at the end of the recording session, what I've done to get everything sound treated. I have something even more exciting for you today because I have the one and only Ellie Baxter. We're here to interview her and hear some of the amazing things that she's done in her investing career. She's done many things. She's a coach. She has over 700 doors. And I believe you've raised, how much have you raised in the past few years?
Like around 5 million.
About 5 million over the past couple of years or so. So beautiful. Yeah. And going, I think, to your first deal in 90 days. These are sorts of things that she's going to talk about. She's going to tell you how you can do the same thing, how you can get that first deal sooner rather than later. And with that, let's officially bring onto the show Ellie Baxter. Welcome, Ellie.
Thank you, George. I've been wanting to get on this interview with you for so long, so I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, and it is good to have you here. You're fun, you're colorful, and you have a lot of great things to say. And I think that is important too, because, we do have to keep it entertaining, or people will do something else. They'll go on TikTok. It's terrible. I don't know what people do with their time.
Yeah, it's a time suck getting on TikTok, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So don't go there. I'm sorry I said it. Somebody's probably wasting their time. They went down the rabbit hole already.
Right.
But all right. So the you that are still with us, Ellie, so you are a multifamily investor. Why don't you tell us about your most interesting deal? I always like to say that a great deal has a great story behind it. So do you have a favorite deal, or do you have a favorite multifamily investing story from your playbook?
Wow, those are some good questions. I mean, I think every single deal I've done has its own unique story that I love about it. So I think that I don't have like a favorite one, but I will say this last deal that I just closed, it's 34 units in Charlotte, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, because that is where my market is. It's my first deal as like the main GP. So I think that is like a little bit as extra love because I was able to do this deal and not just add value to another deal, but actually be able to source it and then, find it and be able to do everything, all of the jobs and raise the capital, asset manage it, everything. So it's like my baby because it's my first big time one. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I
something.
love that, and that is huge because there are many ways to play the game, and I say they're all good, right? You can raise capital for somebody's deal, and obviously you have to be active, unless you're a broker working under a broker dealer. Don't violate any laws. You can find deals, and someone else will kind of run them for you. Some people have the niche of asset management, which is also beautiful. Everybody just focuses on the intake, it seems. Like, hey, find a deal, raise capital. Asset management also very, very important. So yeah, I love it. And a few things I like about this. First of all, kind of smaller. A lot of the gurus will say, like, go for 100 units and up, 200 units. Well, it's better than a 200 unit deal, 300. But I think there's a lot of value to these smaller deals. But rather than, me droning on and on, I want to hear what you think. Why are some of these smaller deals the place to be?
Yeah, it's so funny because I've had the opportunity to, get on both sides. So like my first deal was 382 units, and then like my smallest deal was 34. So I think that there's things that I love about both, but I will say I feel like it takes a lot less time to raise the capital than if you're raising for something over 100. I think that it can lower the risk too because you are, you're able to spend more time like really seeing like each unit. And with my 34 units, it was a lot easier to do the due diligence. You need less general partners, right? So less pie that you have to give out and so forth. But I also love the big ones because obviously bigger equity, more money,
Mhm.
like there's a lot more that you can do with it. But
Yeah, those economies of scale are just beautiful with the large properties. Property management goes down. For me, these smaller deals, a lot of times you're dealing with a completely unoptimized assets. And, as bright as many of us are in this business, I prefer to work at something that isn't rocket science. I think Warren Buffett would back me up on that. He wants these simple businesses. I think that I've heard it said recently, unsexy is the new sexy. So
mm,
the simpler it is to carry that ball down the field and the fewer things that have been optimized, somebody who doesn't even necessarily know what the thing is worth in the first place, it may be a pain to them. I mean, this may just be something that is a huge time suck. I mean, you're talking about running the syndication. I mean, that's one thing, but I mean, you're not out there with a hammer in your hand. You're not knocking on the doors, collecting the rent for a lot of these people that have a 34 unit. I mean, when they say they're doing the whole thing, I mean, they are just literally they didn't buy an apartment, they bought a business.
exactly. And it kind of defeats the purpose of the passive income and not coming
Yeah.
in every single day and working. So I do have my own property management team, and I'm the manager with a couple of my partners. So we're able to kind of discuss our exit strategy, our phases with our property manager, and then she implements it for us. So that way we're not coming in with a hammer. We're not like having to
Yeah.
be there every single day. We shouldn't have to be at a property. Even when you're stabilizing, you can go there maybe like once or twice a week just to make sure that everything is going well. But the goal is for you not to be there every day. And it doesn't make sense. It takes away the whole, passive income.
Yeah, don't defeat the purpose. Yeah, another thing that I like about some of these smaller properties is that you can get into markets that other people aren't in, like maybe a tertiary market. It may not be far from a big city, in terms of a quick drive down the highway, but it may be far enough that some of the larger investors aren't willing to go out there or haven't heard of it yet. So you also might have longtime owners. I mean, certain areas like DFW. I don't know how you find an apartment that's been owned more than 5 years out there.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of been picked over. So yeah, I love your fresh perspective on that. And I got to say that I do think, although you won't hear a whole lot of gurus say it, the smaller, well, small 34 units. I mean, it's huge compared to what most people in real estate are doing. They're doing a single family home. It's a wonderful, I would say, sort of an in-between size. It's huge compared to a single family home, and yet it's small enough that you can just sweep in and find a gem. That is to say, if you're not rich enough that you can only do deals of, double-digit millions or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything less than that is not interesting anymore.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been such a huge journey. It's been lots of learning lessons. And I think that, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I love to teach it. I actually really, I just think like, how can you teach somebody how to do it without like actually doing
Yeah.
it yourself? So it's
Well,
been,
you can't, and that's one of the problems with coaching. So why don't we talk about coaching? So you're a coach who knows and who is still doing, and that's two of the problems. Yes, sometimes you have these coaches that they're trying to teach something that they don't really know themselves, or it's something where, they decided, hey, maybe being a coach is more lucrative than actually being an operator, and then they stop operating, and their knowledge grows stale, and they're not really connected to the market. So, well, why don't you? I mean, since this is something that I can tell you're seriously passionate about, tell us about your coaching program. So this is something you're running yourself. This is like the Ellie Baxter coaching program. What do you call it?
yeah. So, I mean, it's just my company's called EB Investments. So it's just my initials, Ellie Baxter's Investments. But essentially, I was a coach for a mentorship program that I was with Multifamily
Yeah,
Mindset. And so I was really able to, take what I've learned from coaching there. I've been coaching for about 3 years. So literally everything that I've learned from doing actual syndication, I've been able to just turn around and teach others because there's so much opportunities. And I think that, like when I first started, I was 29 and I didn't know anything about real estate, George. Like I didn't even know what an LOI was. Okay. And so
Right.
it was,
Well, we were all there, right?
yeah,
And for
yeah.
many of us, it wasn't long ago.
Exactly. So I want to be one of those people that can I love just teaching. I love helping other people. I always tell like, my close friends or students that if I can go, if I were to die in like a month or whatever, but knowing that I was able to help change people's financial trajectory, like I'm gonna die happy girl, right? Because I love to be able to implement ways that we can make more money, ways that we can set our life better up for retirement, that we don't have to wait until we're 65 years old, that we can retire early, grow old rich, right? I want us to be able to not follow society's rules. And so if I can be somebody to help other people do that, that's literally like I've been looking for something, a way to add value in people's lives. And I think coaching and teaching people how to bring in capital, because that is the easiest way. Obviously, per SEC regulations, you got to find another active role, but that's what I also teach. So in my coaching 101 that I just brought out literally like last week, I teach people how to get on a deal faster. I teach people how to source deals, broker relations, raising capital, asset management. I teach a little bit of everything. So that way people can get on a deal sooner rather than later because there are people that it takes them years and they don't know why or how to get on a deal sooner. So that is what I love to teach, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that is huge. I mean, coaching is something that can help to accelerate your career, can also hopefully help you to avoid a mistake early in your career, which can be a lot more damaging than later on once you have more financial wherewithal. So, all very good things. And yeah, I did really want to underscore that this is your coaching program. A lot of people, I think, know you as a coach for another program. So, very excited to see you out, putting out, hanging out your own shingle
Mhm.
and doing your own thing. Yeah, because yeah, the other thing is, a lot of these coaching programs, I don't think they necessarily really take care of people. And one of the advantages I think that going out with somebody, uh, like call it independent, is that you kind of get it on the ground floor. I mean, you're somebody, you've had hundreds of units, you've coached, I'm just gonna throw out a number, hundreds of people. Is that fair to
Basically,
say?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know your stuff, but you're still at a point where like if I come into your program, do I get coached by you directly?
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not, a coach under a coach and you get
Right.
attracted by some really big name. You actually get the full Ellie Baxter treatment. All right, she didn't actually pay me.
Oh, I know. I was like, oh, that's so fancy. Thank you,
Yeah,
George.
it does. It does sound fancy. I kind of like that too. I should patent that.
Yeah. I love it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, she didn't pay me to say
Awesome.
that, but I really think she's great. So I mean it 100%. So um, I'd like to ask you about markets because I think you and I do look at markets similarly. I know we've had some chats about Des Moines, Iowa. That's interesting market to me. You're the first person that brought that to my attention. Iowa is a place that I always contrast when I look at places like California or Florida, places where you can see extraordinary appreciation. And then you have these cash flow markets, these Midwest markets. And recently, these Midwest markets, they've been tops for rent growth. Like, for example, I am a Detroit native. I still live in the Detroit metro. Over the last year, Zumper had its rent report. They put it out every month. It's a great thing to follow. They had Detroit, top of the heap. Kansas City, Missouri was, I think, number two. And then also on the list, I know Cincinnati, Ohio, another city that I like a lot. I haven't been able to buy in Cincinnati, Columbus, a little higher up the list, and Richmond, Virginia. That was the only thing that you might call the South. But even so, I feel like, the exception, as they say, proves the rule. Even the southern city that they listed in the top 20 is something that's really in the middle latitudes of the country. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So why is the Midwest doing so well these days?
I think it's because it's the economy. It's just a lot cheaper to live. And so And I think that there's a lot of cool things that are happening in the job growth, right? There's a lot of plants that are coming in, like the Hyundai plants coming in Georgia. There's so many cool things that are happening in the Midwest, and I think it's just a little affordability as well. And a lot of people are moving from, the markets like DFW, more the saturated, higher, rent growth that's happening, and people can't afford to live there. So they're moving more into the Midwest. And Des Moines, Iowa is the number one emerging market right now. And so that's one of the reasons why I have property there and continue to look there. And however, I'm huge on the South. So I know like the Midwest is great, but I don't actually own any property, but I do like certain places. Cincinnati and Columbus, I do hear crime rate is pretty bad and population growth isn't great. This is just from where my market research is coming from.
Sure.
However, Charlotte, Raleigh, the Triangle, Columbus, Charleston, South Carolina, like there's so many cool spots in the South and in Georgia too that I'm really, really trying to hone into because I
Right.
think a lot of people don't realize that in some of these markets, the insurance rates can really, really
Yeah,
destroy.
I mean, tell me about it, Ellie. I'm an apartment owner in Florida, and I just tell you, when I get that new bill each year, like, this has got to be a joke. Go back
Yeah,
to the market, and
yeah.
I'll have someone else take a look at it, and sometimes it's just the case that, hey, buddy, that's that. And they have a lot of issues in their market, but I've covered those on the show before. I won't go into it, but yeah, Florida has a lot of issues, and I still do like the South, particularly certain parts of the South. You mentioned affordability. I think that's huge. For a while, I see people were just chasing the demand. And with little
Mm.
supply, that's all you had to do. Just look at the demographics. How many people are piling in? Well, then that gives you an idea of how quickly the rents will grow. Well, a couple of things have changed since then. Supply has come online in a lot of places, and in some cases, we might call it oversupply. Rents actually moving negative for a while. And the other thing is affordability. You can only raise those rents so long. And some of these trendy markets, they've just, no trend continues forever. They're no longer trendy. Yeah, you do mention Des Moines being the top emerging market. And I think that's really what people have to look for. You have to look for that emerging market. I mean, what the wise do in the beginning, the fool does in the end. And
Mhm.
these trends, they only continue so long. So if you pile in at the end, yeah, I hate to say it, but you're the fool. So yeah, I bought back in Florida when it was a good idea to do that, and I'm still happy with that purchase.
Yeah.
But if I see a deal come across my desk these days, I have to ask myself, well, is it still a good deal? When a hurricane rips through and if unemployment increases and if my insurance bill doubles, is that still a good deal? So it's harder to buy out in Florida, at least per my metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. I have property in Jacksonville, but anytime that I see a deal, in Oklahoma City where there's a lot of tornadoes, or you have to look at, unfortunately, you have to look at, what kind of, Mother Nature brings into this area. And so, one thing that I
It's funny
always
you
ask,
say Mother Nature, and I'm just glancing at the lower left of my screen. It says 3 inches of snow in 4 hours. Let's see, can I capture that? It's sometimes hard to capture the screen you can't really see. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you on a tour of my studio. I just thought that would be fun because there you go. There's my beautiful snow out here in Michigan. And then
wow.
for those of you who think, George, you normally have your studio together. What is going on here? I'll just take you through. This is the tour I gave Ellie before we got started. And I've got all of this acoustic foam, all of the pillows, everything, anything I can do to sound dampen is what I'm doing right now. So yeah, for those of you who haven't checked it out yet, Passionate Living Through Passive Investing, that's my book. Love it if you could all check that out. Story of my life story of passive investing, private equity, how you can diversify in this business. You don't have to just do one thing. Like Ellie, I'm in multifamily, but I love investing all across private equity. Now, let's open up to you, Ellie. Do you, as a passive investor, are you invested passively? And if so, do you invest outside of multifamily?
Yeah. Well, I just actually recently, I do invest in some things I really like. One thing is in the cannabis industry. Like I love the medical benefits that come with it.
I like the way you set that up. Things that I really like.
Well, it's the health, the medical benefits, and I think that
Yeah, sure.
there's some really cool things that I just recently invested in. And then I do really like, ways to make passive income, right? The average multimillionaire has 7 streams of income. So a business partner and I actually just recently invested into an online cleaning company. And so where we don't ever have to do anything, we have a VA, we have our own cleaner, 1099. They set up the appointments and we just watch the money grow.
You
And we
know,
don't
is
have.
this catered to, for example, short-term rentals, or is this more people that just need, hey, I need a deep clean for my house?
Right, it could be both, right? So
Yeah.
but a lot of times, obviously, it's great right now during the holidays. So a lot of people get their houses clean for that. But we find markets, right? This is another thing that we look at in the markets is, neighborhoods that a lot of people are cleaning. A lot of people are having, a lot of money. They don't have time to clean, or we like short-term rentals. We like Airbnbs. We like all of that. Even some commercial real estate. And so that way I don't ever have to be there and I'm not cleaning myself. I'm just watching it passively create the income. So
I
there's
love it. I'd love to dig into that statistic of the average multimillionaire. I mean, it seems like an oxymoron. I think that, multimillionaires, we're just like we break the distribution. But if there could ever
yeah,
be said something such as the average multimillionaire, 7 streams of income, do I get to count each of my apartments as a separate stream of income? Then I'm definitely above seven. But
yeah, absolutely.
okay,
Yeah.
good, good, good. But yeah, I would like to have hopefully 7 passive streams of income investing in 7 different things if possible. I love that you're investing in an operating business. I think that's cool. That's fun. Major investor in a construction company. It's the family construction company. Working on a drug rehab right now. Now that's
Oh,
another business. Now cleaning, when you first said cleaning, I'm thinking you mean like laundry because those things make a ton
this is
of
true.
cash flow, but
Yeah.
also a ton of trouble. But you're able to handle this through a VA, and I love that. I think we're probably going to have to dig into that in a minute if you'd like, because this is a show, it's largely about real estate. At times we talk about private equity and passive investing, but it's also about entrepreneurship. I mean, we are business owners, and I think owning real estate might be one of the easier businesses to own. I always contrast it with starting an electric car company. It's nothing like that.
Right.
But at
Right.
the same time, if you don't take it seriously, you're going to get eaten alive by people who understand things like financial accounting, people who are out there looking at the numbers, analyzing, knowing what market to go in, etc. But well, why don't we pick up on that online cleaning? So the VA, what does the VA actually do for you that allows this investment to be largely passive? So all the scheduling, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yep. We have a software and we also have what it's called Google service ads. So when you type in like cleaning companies near me or exterminator or whatever on Google, then there's the local service ads. And so it literally gives you the best top Google reviewed places that people have used for like extermination or cleaning or whatever. And so we would be up on there because reviews on there. And so people can literally just click it and then call us. But we also have it on other places too, like next door. I even like paid somebody, I created flyers and just did like the old school way. And he went into like a parking lot mall and just like put flyers out on
I love the
the
low tech
flyer.
too because there's a role for that. I mean, if you got somebody who can do that, people are looking at those flyers everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like where do I see those at? Basically anywhere you go. I mean, if you know the business owner, they may be willing to cross promote with you or local hardware store. It seems often has a bulletin board. Oh, restaurants too. Yeah.
Starbucks,
Yeah.
they usually have like a board of businesses that you can just like thumbtack
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But so we're doing it both ways. We're doing it like obviously we're paying for certain ads and stuff like that to promote on like Facebook and Marketplace and Nextdoor and Google service ads. But we're also doing it like the old school way where you're literally just word of mouth and being able to do it because that is like one of the easiest ways for you to promote your business. And then so when they do that, they call and they are talking to our VA and the VA schedules everything up for them. And then we have a 1099 cleaner. We have multiple of them. We focus in certain areas that are where a lot of people we see that the market is phenomenal and that people get their house cleaned like once a week or once a month or whatever, because we want obviously returning people. And with that being said, then we literally just we pay a certain amount to our VA, we pay a certain amount to our cleaner, and then we take the rest home. So it's a very easy way for you not to have to do a lot of work.
Yeah, love it. Beautiful. And yeah, very good that you have operating business added to those multiple streams of income, those large apartments and this medium-sized apartment too, and your coaching program as well. So very, very cool stuff. And all great things must come to an end. And this was a great interview. I want to thank you so much, Ellie, for taking the time to come share your knowledge and experience with the audience. And if you want to reach out to the incomparable Ellie Baxter, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can just literally call me or text me, and I give my number out to everybody because I don't care. Yeah, so my phone number is 984-789-7586. You can also, I'm still doing branding for all my stuff too. So you can just email me at ebaxter101@gmail until I get all my branding going for my coaching. But that you can just, yeah, it's just my first initial last name, really easy as well. And then obviously social media, I'm huge. So LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook, it's just all Ellie Baxter. So you can just look
You're a
me up.
phenomenon. I think you're on Instagram every day, so
Yes.
love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ellie.
Thank you, George. I really appreciate it.